It's Lie Week in politics. Welcome to the Doug TenNapel channel. This is where the happy patriots hang out. I hope you'll hang with us. Leave a comment below. Let us know down in the comments what lie would have to be told about Trump before you wouldn't vote for him. Here's Halprin on the subject.
And the point I was making is there's all sorts of things being floated out there. Maybe Jeffrey Goldberg just happened to finish the story 2 weeks before the election.
This is about the Jeffrey Goldberg story about John Kelly, who said that Trump said that he wished his generals acted more like Hitler's generals, something like that. An obvious lie.
I know of one story that's been pitched to a major newspaper and to me, and for all I know to many others, that I don't believe is true. But if it's true, as I said yesterday, it would end Donald Trump's campaign.
So this is another story that's going to come out that if it's seen as true, will end his campaign. Of course, it's false, and Halpern already believes it's false. We don't know what it is, but it will probably come out this week because any trashy rag can run with it if they think it'll help them beat Trump as an October surprise. The October surprises are all going to be lies about Trump because they've flushed out anything legitimately negative about him over the last 8 years.
What we're seeing in the final days, is a point I was making, is actors who want a certain outcome are on social media and in pitches to reporters, and in the case of The Atlantic, Jeffrey Goldberg writing himself, are trying to affect the end of the race because they're so desperate to try to pull a Comey.
That's their bottom line. They're willing to lie because they're desperate, but it means Trump's winning, guys. Don't mistake this. Don't get too worried. It just means Trump's winning, and we're running against a bunch of liars that are pragmatists and will do anything to win.
I'm not pursuing the story. I don't think it's true. People in Mar-a-Lago, calm down. All I'm saying is there are people out there pitching stuff. And if it were true, it would end his campaign. But if someone pitched me a story that said Trump is a Martian, that might not end his campaign. People might think that's cool.
Would you think it was cool if you found out that Trump was a Martian? Let me know in the comments below. I'd still vote for him even if he was a Martian. He'd be a fabulous Martian, the very best Martian there is. Here's the Trump campaign statement on Kamala Harris lying and losing. Quote, Kamala Harris is a stone cold loser who's increasingly desperate because she's flailing and her campaign is in shambles. This is why she continues to peddle outright lies and falsehoods that are easily disproven. The fact is that Kamala's dangerous rhetoric is directly to blame for the multiple assassination attempts against President Trump, and she continues to stoke the flames of violence in all the name of politics. Remember, if you actually believe that Trump is Hitler or a kind of Hitler, that's what they're hoping will happen to him. Their rhetoric is out of control and completely dangerous. She is despicable, and her grotesque behavior proves she's wholly unfit for office. Stephen Chung, Trump campaign communications director, and on Kamala Harris calling Trump's Hitler. Here's Trump and Israel holding up the 10 Commandments with Ben Shapiro. Isn't that just so Hitler? Now here's Bill Ackman on CNBC on making the case for Trump and against Kamala, the liar.
Let's talk about team for a moment, because it's not really Trump versus Harris. It's the Trump team versus the Harris team, right? So what have we seen? So Trump's picked J.D. Vance as his vice president. Kamala has picked Walz. Walz is a self-described knucklehead. Right? I can't imagine a world in which this guy is president of the United States.
People should be terrified of Waltz. Again, you're going to roll that guy out against Iran, against Russia, to deal with China, a guy who's just like a bumbling doofy, the way he carries himself. Same with cackling Kamala. I'm sorry, but she comes off as weak. She comes off like an easy pushover. She's not going to be tough to these regimes. Trump comes off as tough.
And you have to look at the vice president as a potential president of the United States. So that's... Right. If I line them up, you've got a guy who grew up in a very, very challenged environment, addiction, family, rural America, makes his way to Yale, armed forces. Now he's, venture capitalist, right, senator, extremely articulate, obviously highly intelligent. So you compare and contrast.
This is about the basics of Trump's team. So that's J.D. Vance, already beats out Waltz.
You have Elon Musk, who's probably one of the most consequential, certainly consequential business leaders 100%. In the world. It's proven he can take on 12 things at the same time and change the world. Okay, who's going to take? He's put himself out here in this election, and first the only one talking about government efficiency, right? And Trump's all in.
And so he's going to reform the government. Remember, people made fun of Elon Musk for cutting. It was like 75% of Twitter's staff, and they actually got better and more efficient, more profitable. He's going to do the same thing to our government. Let's hope.
RFK is a highly intelligent, capable person, and he's focused on a couple of issues that mean a lot to me. Number one, the food industrial complex, what's happened to the health of Americans over the last couple of decades. He's going to focus on that. I think that is a critically important issue.
I said this earlier as a brilliant move for the Trump campaign, that neither party has really address children's health or our American health and our problem. You had Michelle Obama say her little fake school lunches and things like that. That doesn't go far enough. They're talking about across the board, the American health epidemic. And I think it's a great issue, a great way to expand the Republican Party.
You've spent your whole career talking about truth, honestly.
Yes.
You go out there publicly talking about companies that you think are lying.
Sure.
And I just want to know what you think when you see, for example, former President Trump publicly say on the record that he forced Deere to not move to Mexico. And then the company has to come out with a statement that says that that's false, fundamentally false. He puts on Twitter or on social on his social media platform that Jamie Dimon is endorsing him. And then J.P. Morgan has to come out publicly and say that's not true.
Actually, that's not what happened. What happened was Jamie said some positive things about Trump. Someone posted on Twitter that Jamie's endorsing him, and Trump, in effect,
Let me ask you this, though.
And see, this Kamala Harris endorsing host, the one who's against the guests, the host is saying, what about all these lies? He is not interested, by the way, in lies, because Kamala Harris lies top to bottom, and he is not concerned about her lies. He's only cared about that one John Deere statement from Trump, which is easily arguable.
As somebody who cares about truth, use the Deere example, because that's as black and white as they come.
So look,
what do you think of that?
I think there are probably many examples of Trump convincing and or threatening a company that if they open up a factory in Mexico, that he's going to, tariff their goods or whatever, and maybe confuse the company. Okay, but he certainly has used that kind of technique. But let me hold on.
Go ahead.
I want to make my own arguments
You
here.
can, but
you get to do it all day. I get to do it now.
There's lies on both sides. It's like unbelievable.
In her Twitter account,
They lie for a living.
okay, Vice President Harris put stuff out about Trump that are absolutely completely false. Like, so for example,
Bloodbath.
He's going to sign a federal abortion ban. Okay, Trump's not going to sign a federal abortion ban. He's in bold letters, capital letters. He said it publicly. He's posted it. Otherwise, I can give you multiple examples. Just take a look at her Twitter feed, her X feed. It's a series of lies about President Trump.
And they just think they can get away with it. They think that's how you win. And I follow Kamala Harris on Twitter. I've seen the lies rolled out. They will say the most blatant untruths about Trump. Whatever they think will win is good enough for them. Trump, however, is telling the truth about many things, even though I'll be the first to admit he has lied before in public. But he's not a liar. I don't think she believes anything. I think they literally will say anything to win. Whereas Trump says things that could cut against him, like not signing a federal abortion ban, that someone like a pro-lifer like me, it could bring me trouble in the vote. He's willing to go with that. And so at the very least with Trump, you may disagree with him, but he's not lying. And you may agree with Kamala Harris, but she's lying. I'm Doug in exile.